ActiveCampaign HourScore split test. In this video, we're going to cover how to split test people who have been HourScored inside your account. I should probably explain a little bit about this. Previously, I've mentioned an automation that you can set up so that you can track when people open and or click a link in an email you sent, and then update a custom field that represents the hour that they did that. So this way you've got information about when they have last opened or last clicked an email. I think you'll get better data if you focus on clicks, but initially just to get data, I recommend having it for opens or clicks. Once your database of email contacts have gone through that, maybe turn it back down to clicks. So then what you can do is you can run another automation that will split test open click rates based on HourScores. So let's dive right in. Inside your ActiveCampaign account, you're going to want to create an automation like this. And I'll go through the details, but let me just say this. This will probably work best for people that have large accounts, 10,000 plus, 50,000, 100,000 plus contacts in their ActiveCampaign account. Less than 1,000, probably not. Even less than 10,000, probably not as useful. And it's a little bit more work. However, if it gives you a lift in opens, clicks, and ultimately sales, might be worth doing it every single time. I recommend at least doing this once after you've collected HourScores on your contacts to test this out. So the way it starts is you just put them in this automation. You've got to already have your email written, ready to go, and inside this automation. I always throw in a 5-minute wait. That's just me being paranoid. Just in case I do something wrong, I could run back in here. I could put another 30-minute wait underneath that, apply a tag, set a goal at the end to pull them out. If I have an emergency, I made a mistake, and it's like, whoops, should not have done that. So that's my little panic button, the 5-minute wait. Next up is just check. Do they have a tag called Do Not Disturb? Now, I'm kind of a big fan of letting people choose their own adventure, and if they're off doing something else, in other words, if they're in an automation that's sending them emails, don't disturb them. So what it says, does the contact match the following conditions? The contact does not have this Do Not Disturb tag. In other words, they're ready to play, and they'll go down this path. Otherwise, if they have the Do Not Disturb tag, over here, just simply in the automation, they're not going through it. And then I'm just kind of queuing up things so I know exactly when it's going to start. I just put a time in there, wait till 7 a.m. my time for up to a day. So I want to queue people up. You should have put everybody in at the same time, so they're all going to be sitting here waiting till 7 a.m. Then we do a little tag cleanup. And I've got a status HourScore yes, status HourScore no, as a way to identify people if we're going to use them in the test part of this or the control part of this. And it's really only to identify people. And if you notice, I'm removing it. So in other words, if they previously had it, I'm simply removing it, starting fresh. But I'm also going to apply the Do Not Disturb tag because this will effectively take 24 hours for everybody to go through it. And if I'm sending out emails like the next 12 hours, I really don't want to bother these people that are getting this. So next up is just to make sure they're on the right list. I mean, that seems kind of silly, but I just want to be sure. And if they're not on the right list, what you're going to do is jump down to the bottom, remove the Do Not Disturb tag, and in the automation. So that's another leg of people. Just make sure they're in the right list. Next condition is, do they have an HourScore greater than, and it's empty. HourScore is greater than, and it's empty. So that means, do they have an HourScore? This is how you check for a null or empty value. You just say our custom field greater than and leave that blank. And that way they have to have something in there for them to go down the yes path. Otherwise they go down the no path. We set and wait till, let's say, 8 a.m. and then we send out an email. Now notice we've got 3 emails. They should all be identical, because we're just testing time of day. So these should all be identical. These people are getting one, they're not getting any kind of tagging, and then we go down, get rid of the tag, and then end it. So they're all getting an email at 8 a.m. if they don't have an HourScore. Next, we want to go down the yes leg here, and we're basically splitting indefinitely between the paths, It's basically a 50-50 split in theory. I've already done that. So half the people are going to go down to here. They're going to get the status HourScore yes tag. The other half are going down the no path. And then we're going to wait till 8 a.m. just like this. And then we're going to send out the HourScore. Now you might be thinking, well, if they don't have an HourScore, maybe they should just go down and get the same email. And the reason I'm splitting this up is because I really want to compare this group and this group, because I've limited variables. In other words, both of these groups have an HourScore. In other words, they've already received an email and done something with it. These people either knew or have never opened an email. So I don't want to compare them to the active people. I really want to do just kind of an apples to apples comparison, so I make sure that whoever goes and gets split here are as close to similar as possible. So half the people are getting the no leg, and they're simply going to get the email sent to them at 8 a.m. and then they just go to the end. Now these people over here, they're getting tagged as yes. We put them into an automation called HourScore, and that automation basically holds them until their time, that time of day, has been met. In other words, if their HourScore is 21, then they wait till 2100 hours, which I think is 9 p.m. And then they get taken out, and then they return right here. Or actually, they get put in here, but notice that they do not move on until they're done with this. And actually, that's wrong. That should say HourScore. And I'm going to just limit it to 1 day, but in theory, they're going to get pulled out anyways. So these people here are going to get their emails spread out over a 24-hour period. They're going to get this exact same email, except it is a different email, so that when we look at reports, we can see what the open click-through rate is for this versus this. Not so concerned about this. And then we do a cleanup. We get rid of the do not disturb tag because they're back in. They're back ready to receive. So we did a lot of kind of cleanup, making sure we got clean data. In other words, let's not interrupt anybody that's doing their own adventure right now. Let's wait till a certain time of day, do some tag cleanups, add a do not disturb, make sure they're in the right list, make sure they've actually opened or clicked an email before, and then split those two groups, 50-50. Half the people get it at a fixed time, half the people get it based on their previous open and or click time, and then they're done. That's how you can do an HourScore split test in ActiveCampaign.